Time now for The Real Estate Connection with Stephen Theard, a realtor and certified probate and real estate specialist. Whether you're a first-time homebuyer or a seasoned investor looking to downsize, move up, or refinance, this program is for you.
Our house in the middle of our street. Something tells you that you've got to move in the middle of our...
From probate sales to landscape design to home repairs and maintenance, this is your weekly look into all things real estate. Now your host for The Real Estate Connection, Stephen Theard.
Hey, thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining me on today's show. Woo, it has been a grueling week already. Wow, so much can happen in a few days in the world, but I want to thank you for spending a little time and joining me on another episode of The Real Estate Connection, produced and brought to you by Good Patriot Realty, a salute to home ownership. And broker owner here, Stephen Theard, and podcast host. Hey, if you have any questions about residential real estate, whether you're looking to upsize, downsize, retire, buy an investment property, and you want some advice, give me a call right now. Stephen Theard, broker, California DRE number 0170019. You can see that written at the bottom of the screen there. California DRE number 0170019. And I want to thank you for joining me today on a Wednesday afternoon. Actually, it's a beautiful day in sunny California. It's not too hot, not too cold, and there's not too much smoke in the air from fires. So that is something to be celebrated. All right, without any further ado, we're going to jump right on in today's episode. You know, the real estate market has been scorching hot lately. Can you hear it? Can you hear the fire burning? That's right. It's been hot, and there's been a ton of multiple offers out there. Sellers have been enjoying this ride for a very long time. But the question is that I have for you today, have multiple offers left the real estate market? That's the question, because, you know, you can be sitting back saying, oh, you know, my house is going up in value by thousands and thousands of dollars every day. And if I list it, it's going to get sold in a week and I'm going to get multiple offers. And you can sit back there and get really comfortable. But the market's always changing and it's always evolving because things in the world are changing and evolving all the time. So on today's episode of The Real Estate Connection, we're going to talk about have multiple offers left the market. And along with that, you get a bonus baby. That's right. Bonus baby. We're going to talk about also what has the median price of homes gone up over the last year, not just locally, but nationwide, right? We're going to look at that number and kind of get our arms wrapped around what's happening with the value of real estate in the market as a whole. So again, thank you for joining me today. And hey, if you're just joining me for the first time or you're a regular listener, do me a favor. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. It really does help my numbers and get the message out to more people who are interested in finding out this information about real estate. And if you're on Facebook, hit that like button and share this podcast out so other people can get this information. It also can be found on Apple Podcasts. If you look for The Real Estate Connection with your host, Stephen Theard, on Apple Podcasts, you can find recorded shows, and you can also find me on Podbean, other recorded shows there as well. If you don't want to go looking for it, okay, just send me an email at info@realestateconnectionradio.com. That's info@realestateconnectionradio.com. Send me an email and I will get you hooked up on the podcast distribution list. And you're going to get this wonderful infographic in your email box that shows what the latest podcast episode is. And you can listen at your leisure and just, save the email, or better yet, send it out to your friends and family. Just forward that thing right on out there to all the people that you talk to that may be dealing with some issue in real estate that comes across your email that goes, hey, they just asked me about that the other day. I'm going to send them this episode because Stephen has something to say about that. All right, without any further ado, we're going to jump right on in. So the question is, have multiple offers left the market? Well, there has been a change in the real estate market from where we were in the summer and in the spring of 2021. When summer rolled around, when spring rolled around in 2021, the real estate market was absolutely on fire. I mean, things were super hot. You would put a house on the market on a Monday, and by the time Wednesday or Thursday rolled around, a real estate agent's or a realtor's email or not email. Come on, Stephen. All right, wait. Reset. Okay, so a realtor's voicemail box would be full, okay? And it not would only be full for people wanting to come and see the property, but it would be full of messages from other realtors asking, hey, dude, when are you going to be looking at offers, right? That's how we knew the market was hot, because those questions would come rolling in. Your emails would be full, your voicemails would be full, and you'd even have buyers calling you directly saying, hey, can you get me in early and represent me? That is when the market was absolutely roasting on fire. And then by the weekend, people were knocking at the door and begging to submit an offer. And then usually if you did wait for the weekend to end, you would be looking at 8, 9, 10, 12, maybe even sometimes 15 offers to purchase a home, which meant we were seeing over asking offers coming in anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 over the asking price in real estate. So you're asking yourself, Stephen, get to the point, right? It's changed. Why? Why has it changed? Well, I'm going to tell you why it's changed. The reason why the market has changed and we're seeing a slowdown in multiple offers is we're seeing some normality come back to the world as a whole. Not only in real estate, but in everybody's way of doing things. So with the pandemic, we had the perfect storm, right? Everyone was locked up. People weren't spending money. You couldn't go anywhere. And so people were sitting on lots of cash with nothing to do. And they wanted more space because they were living on top of each other. And people were working from home and kids were going to school from home. And you wanted more space and you wanted to get out. And then your employer was saying, hey, I don't care where you work from as long as you work. And so people were moving out of the cities and buying these houses with lots of land and places where they could get away from each other and still habitate in the same home. As that has started to wane and people are going back to work and people are traveling again and people are going on extended trips and vacations, the real estate market has seen some seasonality come back. Now, what do you mean, Stephen, by seasonality? Well, seasonality is an interesting thing. In real estate, traditionally, you had a hot market in the springtime. As people were rolling off the holidays in January and February and football season was coming to an end, men were starting to be at home more instead of going out to football games on the weekends or having football watch parties on the weekends. And the Super Bowl is actually our unofficial last holiday of the holiday season. Up until that point, men are distracted with games that are happening. As soon as football season is over and you don't have that excuse, women are starting to think, or people are starting to think about moving into that house that they've been planning on. So since maybe the fall or the late summer of last year. And so they're thinking this is the time the kids are going to be out of school at pretty soon in a couple of months. So let's go ahead and start looking for a house so that we can transition in the spring and summer and then get into our new place before school starts. And so that was when the real estate season traditionally has been really, really active. That is when the best properties come on the market. The strongest buyers are usually out looking because there's a seasonality to it. Now, as the summer hits, you lose some buyers out of the market because they decide to go on vacation. It's when the kids are out of school. It's a slowdown in business sometimes, and it's expected. There's kind of this tradition where people are taking vacations in the summer. And so you lose family units out of the purchasing market. And so the real estate market tends to start to slow down a little bit. Now, traditionally, there's another push in the fall, right before school starts. So as people come back from vacation early and maybe they didn't find the house they were looking for, they'll push one more time to get into a property before school starts and everyone settles down. Because once school starts and the settling down effect happens, the market starts to cool even more. And then we run into what we call the holiday season, November, Thanksgiving, and December with the Christmas holidays, when the market really starts to come to a really crawl or slow down. So with the pandemic easing back and people starting to travel and people starting to go on vacations and kids going back to school in person, we're seeing seasonality return back to the real estate market, which means we don't have as many buyers competing against each other in order to buy that house, which means multiple offers are starting to slow down. Now, I know what you're thinking. Does this mean that prices are coming down? The answer is absolutely not. Prices are not coming down. And you may be asking the question, why, Stephen? Why aren't prices coming down? Because we still have historically low inventory. There just aren't enough homes listed for sale for all the people out there that want a house. So sellers, you still have an advantage to a certain extent. However, it isn't as strong as of an advantage as it used to be. So going back in time into the spring, an early summer of this year, we were seeing multiple offers, but with strong terms for sellers. People were waiving their appraisal contingency, which means the house has to appraise at a certain value in order for them to move forward with the purchase. They were seeing loan contingencies removed, saying, hey, we're going to close this deal and we're not going to make it contingent upon our loan getting closed, which means buyers were taking a risk, but they were doing a lot of work up front to make sure that they were in a very good position so that their loan was going to close based on the parameters that the lenders were giving them. And there were no home inspection contingencies at all either. So a seller was not only getting way over asking, they were getting very good terms where everything was handed to them on a silver platter. And if they wanted to stay in the property for a couple of weeks to transition out of their home, they were seeing free rent. So even though the market has not reduced in value, we are seeing terms start to shift. We're seeing appraisal contingencies remaining in contracts. We are seeing loan contingencies remaining in contracts. We are also starting to see people ask for some repairs. Now, that's not in every market. And with anything in real estate, it's very local. I will tell you, though, the further you are out from the job centers of wherever you are living, that's where real estate starts to take this hit first. So if you're selling and your market was hot in Merced, Lodi, or Modesto, those areas are starting to revert back to normal, and you're able to negotiate some better deals as you're further away from locations that are closer to work. We're starting to see that in the Hollister area in Santa Clara County, and a little bit waning in Gilroy in South Santa Clara County. However, it might not be the case in San Jose, where you're closer to work and a shorter commute, and inventory is still low. Actually, the reverse could be taking effect. As people are returning back to work and they're realizing that they don't like commutes or they don't want to have a long commute, being close to where your job is located is a benefit again, and those values can start to go up as they were going down. So condos took a massive hit during the pandemic. People didn't want to be living on top of each other because they wanted space and everyone was home at the same time, all using the same power, electricity, and the Wi-Fi and the water, and you could hear your neighbor's kids yelling and screaming through the walls. So condos took a real hard hit, but as people are returning back to work, and condos are starting to see a resurgence in the marketplace. So that's what's going on in multiple offers. Now I can throw out some statistics out here. I've got a few highlighted from an Inman article. It says, although inventory remains abnormally low throughout the country, the number of homes for sale has started to slowly tick tick back up in recent weeks. According to Zillow, records show the number of homes for sale rose 3% from May to June, but remained down 42% from their levels at the same time in this year, 2019. And credit goes to an Inman article dated, let me see, what's the date of this article? It's 8/17, 8/17, so yesterday. And it was written by Daniel Houston. So thank you, Daniel, for that information. So with that being said, inventory levels are still low. And as I've said in a previous podcast, and according to another article from Inman, even if builders overbuilt supply year after year, it would take them 5 years to catch up to the lack of supply that is needed throughout the United States of America. So we're going to see this inventory issue continue to be a problem for the next 5 years. So we should not see prices going down. They may not be going up as fast, but we should not see prices going down for sellers. So you should take heart, sellers, and know that your equity is safe. And for new buyers in the market, you should take heart too, that you're not buying into a market that's going to crash out from underneath you. And in the last podcast, I explained why that happened. But if you have any questions as to why the market has a solid base underneath it and why you don't have to worry about a crash, you can call me directly, 408-472-0817. Again, 408-472-0817. All right, so we're almost 20 minutes into the show, and I want to jump into what I promised to talk about. So, the median value of homes in the United States of America. The median existing single home price rose 22.9% year over year during the second quarter to $357,900, an increase of $66,800 from the year before, according to the National Association of Realtors. And again, this comes from an Inman article that was released, I believe, on the 18th, so today, and written by Lillian Dickerson. So the median existing single-family home price rose 22.9%. Price growth was in the double digits across all regions, led by the Northeast by 21.8%. So if you've owned a home over the last few years, you've done well. It's still the American dream, and it's still a fact that they're not making any more land. It's a finite supply, and it gets even smaller when you have cities, townships, and counties using zoning to restrict how much housing can be built for residential occupancy. So in any town that you live in, there are going to be zoned areas for commercial real estate where businesses or manufacturing is taking place, or storage of goods, warehousing. And there's going to be areas where they're allowing people to live, and there's going to be areas of retail, and there's going to be areas of government. All right. And so they're all zoned, and usually that's out 10, 15, 20-year plans, which means even with all the land that you see out there, it is restricted. It's a man-made restriction, which creates a short supply, meaning land generally holds its value. So if you're looking for a place to invest where you will not see an overnight erosion of your investment, real estate is the play to make. And you don't have to make it in the state that you're living in. Californians, listen to me. Hear me now. If you want to buy a house and be a landowner in the United States of America, you do not have to buy a house in California. We are a free country with open borders between the states, and you can own real estate in any state of the union. You can go to places like Arkansas. You can go to places like Alabama, Tennessee. It's becoming a little bit more expensive because people are moving there. Montana. You can go to all these different other places, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, and buy a house. You don't have to live in it. It can be an investment property you can hold, or you can buy it with the plans of moving into it into the future if you still want to remain in the state that you're in. You're not restricted by geography. Remember that. That's my hint for the day. If you have any questions about whether or not it sounds like a good idea for you and your family to invest in real estate, and you can't afford to do it in the state you're in, i.e. California, or maybe New York for my international, or actually listeners on the East Coast, not international listeners, that deserves a glockenspiel. All right. You can buy in other states that are less expensive and be a landowner in the United States of America and start building wealth. It is something you absolutely can do. And when the house is only $150,000, you can afford it. Save up some money, put in a down payment, then hire a property manager, rent the property out, and start building cash flow, a second flow of cash flow besides your job for you and your family. All right. So with that being said, we're going to end the show a little bit patriotically. A salute to you goes out to all of the Afghanistan warriors, veterans who served in that nation for our country. I salute you for the sacrifices that you've made. And it was not made in vain. You went over there and did your job based on the information you had at the time. Remember that. We honor your service and we thank you for your service. If you are people that have any type of prayer or faith within you, hear me now. Please, please pray for all of those who are left in harm's way in Afghanistan. The people that stuck their necks out for the United States of America, who are now there facing losing their lives as an evil regime has taken over the country. And number one, for Christians who are not renouncing their faith in the face of certain death. Pray for them. Pray for all of them. If you have a heart, if you have a hate for injustice or for senseless violence, pray for them. They are human and they deserve your prayers. So I'll end with that. I know it's somber and it's not real estate, but it's important to me. So I'm sharing it today. One more thing. This goes out to everyone. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua 1:9. And with that, that's a wrap. Thank you for joining me for another episode of The Real Estate Connection, brought to you by Good Patriot Realty. A salute to home ownership. If you have any residential real estate needs or questions, give me a call. Stephen Theard, 408-472-0817. Again, 408-472-0817. I'd be happy to help you with anything I can assist you with, because my job is to serve you. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. God bless your family. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next week for another episode of The Real Estate Connection.
This has been The Real Estate Connection with Realtor and Certified Probate and Real Estate Specialist Stephen Theard. Licensed Cal BRE number 0170019. For more information on this program, visit realestateconnectionradio.com. To contact Stephen directly, call 408-472-0817 or email info@realestateconnectionradio.com. And be sure to tune in next week at this time for The Real Estate Connection.